Hello everyone, I'm Michael from Heavyweight Boxing, and today I'm bringing you another Boxing News Weekly. So I think we're up to episode 4 now this series, and let's jump straight into it. So Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., wow, that's a bit of a mouthful, has called out Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez to fight him at 175 pounds, also known as light heavyweight. We know, obviously, Canelo and Chavez fought before at middleweight, where Canelo basically beat him up for 12 rounds, and it was a bit of a boring fight. Chavez didn't really show any kind of heart and was completely outclassed by Canelo. But we do know Canelo, however, does want to fight at 175. He obviously tried to get the Kovalev fight fairly recently, and even offered Anthony Yarde step-aside money so they could fight Kovalev, which Yarde rejected. So there's definitely a desire for Canelo to move up in weight. So this fight could potentially happen. It'd be a nice fight for Canelo to ease into this kind of division, get used to the weight, the moving up in weight, against an opponent that he's already beaten. And I reckon he'll believe he could probably easily beat again. Also, Chavez Jr. has got a fairly decent following. I heard in his last fight he sold about 6,000 tickets, and that was against an absolute nobody who he knocked out in like one round. So those are similar numbers to like the likes of Tyson Fury versus Tom Schwartz. I think he sold about a similar amount of tickets. So there could be a bit of money for Canelo in that fight if those two came together. Obviously both Mexican, and so that fight could potentially happen. Do I want to see it? No, not really. I'd rather see Canelo stay at middleweight/super middleweight. I think there's a lot of great fights that could still be made. I don't really like this modern idea in boxing of just constantly moving up in weight, because I think there's still a few good fights. You know, Joe Saunders, Demetrius Andrade. Those are fights I'd like to see. Not kind of joke fest against Chavez at 175. Do you know what I mean? I'm just not really interested in that at all. Do I think Chavez would fight Golovkin? No, not really. Golovkin's not really shown any kind of desire to move up in weight. And there is some fight news coming up with Golovkin, which I'll talk about later. So pretty much confirmed that probably won't happen. But anyway, on to some other news. And Eddie Hearn claims Dillian Whyte will fight before the end of the year. This was said by Eddie Hearn in an IFL TV interview. Obviously, this is all despite the ongoing issues with UCAD over the failing of a drug test, allegedly, I must say, with Dillian Whyte. But a bit of a weird one from Eddie Hearn here. I watched the full interview, and he was very hush-hush about the whole situation with Dillian Whyte. Said for legal reasons he couldn't really speak on it, and all he could say was Dillian Whyte and UCAD are basically working together and are trying to sort something out, and will release further information as soon as they can. But yeah, don't really know what's much to say on that. I suppose it's positive news for Dillian Whyte, for Eddie Hearn to say that, because it's a fairly bold statement from Eddie. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, and I'll let you guys know if there's any further information on this UCAD situation, which has obviously been going on for quite a while now. So anyway, moving on to some real big fight news. And according to Eddie Hearn, the fight between AJ and Andy Ruiz has been signed now and is completely confirmed for the 7th of December, and the fight will take place in Saudi Arabia. So apparently there were some issues between Ruiz and Eddie, not necessarily Eddie, and his contract. He was offered $9 million, and I think AJ was offered about $14 million. This is dollars. I'm not 100% sure about the numbers, but obviously Ruiz was offered a lot lower sum than AJ to fight, and he obviously put up a bit of a fuss, and apparently there were some issues about getting him to sign the contract. But according to Eddie Hearn, it's now been sorted, and I hope it has. I can understand Ruiz's frustration if you're the heavyweight champion of the world and you're not getting paid nowhere near as much as AJ for the fight. But obviously AJ does really bring in a lot of the following. But nevertheless, hopefully the fight has been signed. Just want to say some thoughts on the fact that it's happening in Saudi Arabia. I think it's a bit disappointing that it's not fighting in either of their hometowns, mainly for the fight fans. It's going to be difficult for Mexican and British fight fans to obviously get over there. It's going to be very expensive. So obviously a bit disappointed about that. But I'm quite glad it is happening in a neutral ground. Obviously America was slightly neutral for both of them. and I think it makes sense again to have one in a neutral ground. You know, AJ gave Ruiz the opportunity to fight for the belts, and I think Ruiz should kind of almost return the favour. But yeah, moving on to some Matchroom news, and it has now been officially confirmed Saunders has joined Matchroom. So I think this is not really a surprise for anyone. It's been in the works for a while now, and it's only today that Sky Sports Boxing have officially announced it in a press conference. Billy Joe Saunders has claimed that he's done this because he wants the big fights, which is, you know, I think it's a great move for Billy Joe Saunders, and if he wants the big fights, Matchroom are the people to be with. We know he's been calling out Golovkin and Alvarez for ages now. Well, I suppose who isn't? They get called out by different people every fucking week, but he has been calling them out for ages now. And if he truly wants those fights, Eddie is the person to be with, because obviously he's got the links with DAZN, and Alvarez and Golovkin are both signed with DAZN, so it's easier to make that fight. He's made it very clear, even in this press conference apparently, that he wants those two fights. Do I think those fights will happen anytime soon? No, I don't think Billy Joe Saunders is at the level right now. I think he's got the level, but he's not been fighting opposition anywhere near that kind of level. So I don't think for his first Matchroom fight he's going to jump back in and fight one of those guys. I think from what I've heard, and this is just speculation on my behalf, I think Billy Joe Saunders I think they're going to make the Eubank versus Saunders rematch. I've heard in this press conference Eddie was banging on about that fight and how a lot of people want to see the rematch. I don't know who these people are who want to see Saunders versus the Eubank rematch. I suppose the first fight was fairly even, but I cannot see a different result in that fight. I'd rather see the Callum Smith fight, but then again, maybe easy to make the Callum Smith versus Saunders fight, but I think Smith is just a bit too big. I think it's just a bit unfair for him to be able to fight at super middle. But who knows what's going to happen with Saunders. I personally think the next fight will be him rematching Eubank, and then maybe the Smith fight after that, or I don't know what's going to go on. But moving on to my last bit of news, and Golovkin versus vschenko has not officially been confirmed, but apparently is very close to being signed for and completely confirmed for the 5th of October. So yeah, really good fight. This fight will be for the vacant IBF title. Obviously, Canelo was stripped of this because he wasn't able to make the fight between him and vschenko, or there was issues sorting that out. So now, because Golovkin was second in the rankings, he has now taken the spot. I think this is a great fight. I think we're going to hopefully see some adjustments from Golovkin, see what he's still got left to offer. He is a bit older now, but it'd be nice I think Golovkin will win this fight. I think vschenko will push him to the edge. I think it will really make him work for it, but I'm going to lean towards Golovkin for this fight. But I think it will be, and if Golovkin does win, it'll be great to see him be world champion again. But it does seem all roads lead to the Canelo versus Golovkin rematch. I think that's what they're all working to. I don't think either Triple G or Canelo are interested in anyone really else other than each other, because that is where the real money is at. And I think that fight is definitely the trilogy will take place. But thank you very much for listening. Please like and subscribe, and goodbye.